Companies are under constant pressure to increase their agility. They had that pressure in the past, they have it today, and they have it even more so in future. Now, if you look at companies, there aren't that many levers that they could use to have that flexibility. One that companies are more and more looking into is to get more flexibility in their workforce. By lowering the number of employees with a fixed salary and increasing the number of employees with a variable pay, they can introduce that flexibility. Now, how can they do that? Through contingent workers, tapping into talent platforms or talent exchanges. They can get to those talents on a temporary basis to cover the peak phases in their production cycle. And that put into the mix with increasing robotization, they get a long way into becoming agile companies. If you look at the right talent mix, you really have to have a broad view on what your talents are and what drives the talent and what needs you have on talents. Key input for that is millennials more and more, they want to have a flexible workplace, but also you as an organization, you want to be more flexibility. So you really need to understand what are the drivers that are confronting you in order to become more agile. And then you need to identify where are really the talent pools on a flexible basis that you can get access to in order to have the flexibility for your organization. Companies, especially the HR department, but also other executives, need to think hard about how they want to use employees as a production resource. They need to understand truly where they need that, at what time they need it, and to what cost they need it. So they need to build a really strong, robust business case in terms of what talents do we have, what talents do we need in future, and how do we want to employ them. And then they need to come up with a good, solid understanding of what different working models they want to provide in their organization and engage employees in order to adapt them. One example that we see is actually our own example, PwC, where we use increasingly the concept of contingent workforce, especially in our assurance business, where we have a huge fluctuation of peak times where we need armies of talents, and then lower phases where we use less talents. And they're decreasing the number of colleagues that are on a fixed basis and increasing the number that we have on a temporary basis is a good example that we also could use with our clients. Other examples are companies that are tapping into so-called talent platforms. So platforms with specialist talent pools that you could use on a temporary basis, short or long term, to cover for some peak areas or for some very specific projects that you need them for. But we also see it in production or other industries where on a very short term you need some talent, and you can tap into those talents on a very short term, maybe only for 1 or 2 days, or maybe for a whole year.